Hello, welcome to this episode of Ring Takes here, episode 42. Of course, I'm joined by Brian and Lewis. As always, thank you guys for joining me. Lots happening in the wrestling world. We're going to get into this one with our Survivor Series picks and AEW Full Gear reaction, where we will get started. AEW from the Forum this last Saturday. Big event for AEW. Lots of matches here. Let's start off with Sting, Darby Allin, and let me get this right this week, Adam Copeland, facing the patriarch of Christian Cage, Luchasaurus, and Nick Wayne. What do you guys think about this matchup here? A hard-hitting affair. Of course, Darby Allin taking some major bumps. Yeah, that choke slam from Luchasaurus to the apron took me by surprise. I was like, how the hell does this guy continue to take bumps show after show? It's like every show he's taking some crazy bumps. Sting jumping, still doing stuff. He's like, what, 65? Still jumping off the apron, double clotheslines and things of that nature. And Christian taking off through the at the end there as the cowardly heel running away and leaving his team to take the pin. But what do you guys think about the match?
Psychologically, I liked how the match was booked. I loved how they kept Adam Copeland and Christian like separated for the entire match, really selling the Christian as a heel, running away from Copeland at the very end, or teasing the tag in the very beginning. I definitely love that. Like Daniel mentioned, Darby Allin, the bump that he took, literally folded his body in half. It really makes you question like what exactly keeps Darby going, because a lot of these bumps, like he's had like at least 20 or 30 of these like a year, and I don't understand how his body.
He's drinking milk. That's what it is. He's drinking milk.
Yeah. Calcium pills, calcium pills.
Exactly. Unlike Daniel Bryan.
Exactly. Well, whatever he's doing, it's helping. But it was definitely a great way to kick off the night. The kind of the build around this story it's kind of switched from Adam Copeland and Christian to now kind of revolved around Sting's last hurrah in the company. Obviously, like Daniel mentioned, him being in his 60s and still being able to perform at this level is impressive. But this was a good way to kick off the show. Psychologically, the story between Edge and Christian was told. They're teasing, well, not teasing, but but Darby and Nick Wayne, their interaction. So we can only imagine how that feud is going to progress in the future. But a good way to kick off the show.
Yeah, you know me, I'm not a huge fan of these multi-man matches, but honestly, every time it's a Darby Allin match, I feel like one of these big spots is always going to be in it. I forget which match it was where he did the coffin drop onto the coffin. I don't know how
that was at. Yes, that was at Wembley Stadium. Yeah, that was
that at Wembley?
Yeah, that was at Wembley. He did that.
Oh, was that when he faced Christian, right? No, it was the one where they did the casket match.
Yeah, it was a tag. I think it was a tag team casket match with Sting and Darby against Swerve and Christian.
I thought it was the one.
It was supposed to be AR Fox, but then he kicked AR Fox out the week before.
Yeah, but it's just like one of those spots is what we always getting to Darby, and it's like, how does this man do it? And mind you, like if they even have, I don't know if they have a lot of house shows or whatever, but to be doing spots like that is ridiculous. And that man doesn't, he doesn't sugarcoat it either way. Like he'll run full force and do some of these bumps. Great match. It's crazy to think that Sting's still going. At his age, I mean, hey, this is his retirement. Like,
hurrah!
But it's crazy to think, you got Ric Flair literally right next to him. It's just like, like these two guys are
still going.
And even Rick was over here taking, hits and stuff. And it's like, I'm like, we don't need to see that. Like, Ric Flair is one shot from just like, and you're like,
face planting.
I just don't want to see it happen on live TV. But definitely a great match. I think Christian Cage has been doing his best heel work that he's been doing in a long time, just like true scumbag nature. I still don't really get the whole Nick Wayne thing as much, but and I honestly, Luchasaurus kind of reminds me of Kane. I think just maybe because of the mask wise and just stature and stuff, but it's just like, can we get this man, like, does he just not talk, or like I honestly feel like he has, but I don't know if he really has, so who knows. But definitely a great match. Always good to see these guys. And then you got Adam Copeland still showing that he can go, and I hope he I feel like this Christian thing, I feel like it was kind of like the thing to bring him in, but I feel like kind of should have been saved. Like, let him have a couple opponents and then be like I feel like the big finale should be him and Christian, but
and then being like, hey, why have you been avoiding me all this time since I've been here? I've been trying to get in contact with you, some type of angle like that. But I did like the entrances. I thought that was cool with the choir singing Christian in. That's funny, playing to his character. Adam Copeland, Sting, Darby Allin all coming in similar attire, paint gear, and stuff like that. So I think that was cool. The match was pretty good. A good way to open the show, especially with AEW and stuff like that, having a multi-man match like that of that magnitude. And just looking at Nick Wayne being around, being so young, being around all these guys who have been around the business for 30 plus years and stuff like that. So he's getting the rub there, hanging with those guys. And as what you were talking about, Luchasaurus, I like his character as well. He's good in ring as a guy with a little bit more size than others. So he's working good against those smaller guys. So hopefully he can get out of this Christian chokehold, even though they've been good together. And Christian has also been doing great heel work throughout his career. And now this is probably the peak heel of Christian that we've seen. We've seen him be a coward and stuff like that, but this is just scumbag material. Him running out the match was probably hilarious. That's probably my favorite part. But pretty good match there for those two there. Let's get into the AEW International Championship with Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley. Very hard-hitting affair, as we thought would happen. They're playing the confidence angle with Orange Cassidy versus Jon Moxley, a guy like Jon Moxley, who's probably you can say he's an AEW Hall of Famer at this point. Legend. Right now. And for Orange Cassidy to turn around and get that win over him was a great rub. But what do you guys think about the match and Orange Cassidy overcoming this? Like, what's next for Orange Cassidy after this? He's been carrying this title for a long time, been in the mix with the title for a long time. I'm thinking that he goes to the next level at some point. I mean, Jon Moxley is that guy that next step to get to that next step. That's the guy you got to beat. It looks like that's what Jon Moxley just gave him the rub for that. So what do you guys think about that and the match overall?
Well, I was actually very surprised with the result of this match. I mean, the whole situation with the international title has been very shaky at best since Moxley got concussed. And then Phoenix held the title for a little bit, but then he couldn't hold the title for as long because of his visa issues. So then he dropped it to Orange Cassidy. So the whole international title picture has been very unstable ever since.
There's always something unstable with their titles. Like so much stuff happens.
Yeah, with some of them, yes, but yeah. So it was very surprising that Moxley went over. I thought they would go in the direction of having him, regain the title to kind of give him the title reign that he should have had before he got concussed. But I love like Daniel said, the confidence angle that they played up with Orange Cassidy and his finishing move on how Jon Moxley took the finishing move on the Dynamite before, and no sold it. So they played this role of Orange Cassidy having to overcome Jon Moxley. And honestly, I think it's Orange Cassidy's biggest win since the feud with Jericho, if I remember correctly. I mean, when he initially held the international championship, he had over 30 title defenses. But I don't think any of those guys he defended against were at the level of a John Moxley or a Chris Jericho beforehand. So this is definitely one of his bigger wins. The match itself was very good. I love the finishing sequence. I do think just to nitpick. I wouldn't have had him use so many orange punches. I think he hit him with like six or seven of them. I would have scaled that back and maybe hit him with like maybe 3 of them. But other than that, it was a great It was a great match. Moving forward, I have no idea what you do with Moxley. I mean, like Daniel mentioned, he's pretty much an AEW Hall of Famer now. A little bit of everything. And as far as the Black Combat Club goes, I mean, what group is there for them to feud with right now? Unless they want to make them baby faces and face Bullet Club Gold. But
they can go after the Acclaimed.
I don't know. Them going after trios gold. With everything they've been through right now, with all the feuds they've been through and all the big matches, as messed up as this sounds, I almost feel like them going for the trios gold is kind of below them at this point. Blackpool Combat Club.
It's funny to think, and I was all for the trios titles, but then when you think about it, I'm like, and the fact that AEW is gonna, I guess, introduce another title, it's like, I feel like we're getting, with the tournament. I think whoever wins that's getting a title, aren't they? Isn't it the Intercontinental something?
Yes, the Continental Classic, the 12-person round robin tournament that Eddie Kingston, who was both Ring of Honor and New Japan Strong World Champion, is going to be in, and declared that he's going to be defending his 2 titles in every match that he's in. So there's a good chance that the winner of this tournament is going to walk away with 3 belts. Yeah,
but I wonder if it's just like you get the belt for winning the tournament, but it's not like an actual belt, like.
Kind of like the Crown Jewel Royal Rumble,
or kind of, kind of like the Owen Hart tournament. Like it's like you get the belt at the end, but it's not like an actual belt you're doing. I hope it's like that. I really hope it's not another title, because it's like you got the TNT title, you got the international champion, you got trios, you got tags, you got the world title. It's like I feel adding more. It's like.
Apparently, this champion is going to represent all 3 brands. Like so.
Collision, Rampage, and
both Ring of Honor, New Japan, and AEW.
Jesus.
I guess that's a smart
which doesn't make much sense, because if that's the case, why are you merging Ring of Honor's World Championship? So that pretty much means whoever that champion is, this Continental Champion is, isn't he the world champion of Ring of Honor primarily? So that's why it's confusing. I mean, obviously,
now he has to carry 3 belts around, and that gets lost in luggage. We heard those stories before, so
So I don't know. I mean, but back to this match. I'm a big Orange Cassidy fan. His style and character is so unique and different. I remember first seeing him, I was like, what the hell is this? And then I felt like Chris Jericho, like, who the hell is this guy? And then you're like, oh, this is him, and like, look at what he does, and like, to like see where he's grown and developed now, it's like crazy. And like, I definitely felt like, I was like Brian, I was also shocked too that they gave him the win. I honestly thought that Moxley was just gonna run him over and give him another title reign. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that he kind of got over that hurdle. And I saw even in the media scrum, they were asking him, like, what's next? Like, are you thinking like this is like your next stepping stone to getting into that main event picture? Which I think for sure. I honestly thought when he lost the title, that should have been like,
that should have been.
He had just such an incredible reign, and then it sucks that he lost to Moxley, but it was just like. He defended that title like crazy, and it wasn't like there were no against like any like just like grapplers or whoever the hell wanted the title shot just got one. It was legitimately everybody. So I thought that but him still having it, I feel he'll still have more great matches, but I think it might be time that he gets in. I don't know. Hopefully at some point challenges for the title. I was definitely shocked that And I don't know. I mean, I think with the size of Mox, him delivering all those punches was just like, what's it gonna take to get this guy down? Yeah, maybe he should have done something else. But
I mean, I get that storytelling, but I just think that like it's
no,
almost
I know six is excessive. Maybe like
exactly. It's almost like because I remember Sylvester Stallone whenever he talked about like the old Rocky movies of the 80s, he even talks about how like it was the 80s, it was about like pretty much just about physicality and such, and there were times in the old Rocky movies where he even felt like one too many punches kind of messes up a pace, and that they filmed it like that there was too many.
Yeah, you watch these matches just like juice. You're like, oh,
exactly. It's only from that standpoint, but I get psychologically what they were trying to do at least.
I mean, to me, it just reminded me because we saw so recently Solo with the Samoan spike on John Cena. We saw him have to put him down multiple times. So maybe it's just like, hey, we've seen this a little bit in recent weeks that we've seen a signature that was supposed to be protected or impactful has been used multiple times. So maybe it's that what we've seen. But agreeing with you guys, I thought Jon Moxley was going to go over and maybe give Orange Cassidy another guy to chase, like him going after Moxley, and that's the story that they're going to tell long term. I don't mind him winning because it's like, okay, that's cool. Like we saw him overcome a giant in AEW and continue his reign. So to get that from that standpoint, and Jon Moxley at this point, putting him over, I'm giving kudos to Jon Moxley for doing that. That's awesome for him to do that for another guy that's up and coming, somebody like Orange Cassidy, who isn't original, but has been building his way up for a long time. And to get another signature win like this, that's awesome for Orange Cassidy. Of course, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes from here. But it's just like, I don't know if he's going to be able to jump into that next level there as yet. But it's like, he definitely seems like for the longest time that he's heading that direction. So
yeah, for sure.
For sure.
To see where he's going with this, maybe he just defends this out until next year, until Revolution, which is next year. So maybe that's the point where he can probably drop the title. I don't know if he's going to relinquish the title because we've seen that hassle happen. So, and then try to go on to bigger and better things. Though it's going to be interesting to see where they go with that. In our next match, we had Toni Storm defeating Hiroko Shida.
Rakushida.
Shida. All right, I got the last name.
Yeah, Hikaru Shida.
Hikaru. Even I said it right, so I guess I just joined the club.
Hikaru Shida, who just seems to be
still didn't say it right.
Real quick before we get
Shida. All right,
yeah, we'll go Shida.
We're going Vince McMahon, WWE, one name only, Shida.
Shida. I will say one thing though, before we get into this match. They need to let John take a break. This man was literally going on vacation and then had to come back and pick up the title and go on another lengthy ass reign. I'm like, this man needs a vacation. So if anything's next to him, let the man take a break.
No, you're right. He does deserve a vacation, but they can't afford for him to take a vacation right now because they're down. They're down a lot of bodies right now, so they need him. So MJF ain't gonna be doing any in-ring stuff for a while. Bryan Danielson's still down. Adam Cole is still down, and a lot of these. So, I mean, you kind of need Moxley right now as much as he deserves the vacation.
Let's get Miro in there. I just want Miro like.
Watch Collision. You want Miro? Watch Collision.
We need a lot of people to.
It's on Saturdays. I can't watch it.
Just refuses. I just want to find a different way to enjoy my time on a Saturday than watching Collision. I mean, you're wrestled out by the end of the week. You're wrestled out by that time. Like Friday is pushing it. So to get into Saturday to watch Collision, it's like but we can get into Toni Storm first and Hiraku Shida. Shida.
Hikaru, but
Hikaru Shida.
You gotta say it like 10 times. Hikaru
Shida. For the AEW Women's Championship there. Toni Storm getting the championship after building this character for so long. what do you guys think about the match, and what do you guys think about Shida at this point, just kind of being that transitional champion right now?
Can I go?
Go ahead.
Great match. I think we all kind of predicted that this is what needed to happen, and it's what happened. Because Toni Storm is just like literally like storming through the women's division right now with just like her character work, and like I feel like it was set up perfectly for her. You know, you got Los Angeles and everything, you know, Hollywood and everything. It was just like the perfect time for her to get that title back, especially in this new role. Mm-hmm. And with Shida, it's like, you know, I'm not gonna sit here and say I watch AEW nonstop, but like I feel like for the runs that I've seen, or like at least matches and stuff, like, you know, she had the whole kendo stick stuff. I remember she had the stuff with what was her name? And she's not even showing up on TV anymore. Brian, you would know. She was kind of fit, kind of pointy nose, like she was a dark hair brunette girl. I forget her name. She was like a really like technical wrestler.
You're talking about Serena Deeb.
And they kind of had that like feud going on, which I thought was good between them. And then I don't know what really happened to her, but you know, it's just like, I don't know. I haven't seen like what really her character is. Like, I don't get like an Oscar vibe or an EO or like, I don't know. I just don't really know who her character is besides just coming out with a kendo stick, you know. And you know, like from this reign, I was just like, wait, she won the title again? You know, it was just kind of like a really like surprise. Like, I don't know if there was something going on with Saraya or whatever, but like the fact that I didn't even see when she like lost the title. I was just like, oh yeah, she does the champion. I was like, what?
The 200th collision.
Exactly.
I don't want to see
was this
Dynamite.
On a Dynamite. Yeah.
Collision.
Oh, sorry.
200 episodes.
Yeah. But you know, and then was this her first title defense?
It may have been like the second or third one. I know she's had like other defenses on like Dynamite and Collision.
Oh, maybe like against like Ruby Soho or something.
Yeah, so I know that definitely she had like at least one or two title defenses before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just like, you know, I don't think a lot of people expected much from this title reign. And it's like, and this is the second time they've done it with her, so it's like, I don't really know
what's next for her.
What's next, or does she like need to change up her character or something? But this is where I'm like, you know, Toni Storm, this is her second time as championship, which she rightfully deserved, but it's just like there's literally a whole roster of women that, you know, you could give a chance to like come up and be it. And I feel like it's kind of been the same 4 or 5 women in the title main, you know, whether it's like Shida, Toni, Britt Baker, Saraya, I guess. And then it's like, who else? I don't even know a fifth. Like, was Nyla Rose ever really champ? I don't think she became champ, right? Or did she?
Matter of fact, she did in the but this is like the beginning of AEW.
Yeah, but I felt like she maybe she did. Yeah, I don't. So that's what I'm saying.
She did. She was the second champion. She was the second champion.
You know, so it's just like, but overall, hey, the match was great. You know, I think I'm just kind of going on a little rant about the women's locker room, but match was great. Toni Storm, you know, her character worked perfect. You know, I find the whole Butler thing, you know, hilarious, and the fact that she won with like a steel pan up her butt or whatever, on her cheek or whatever, you know, with that hip attack or whatever, I thought was hilarious. But just like, I don't even really understand what this character is. It's just like, is she a movie actress? Is she like a failing? I don't even know. It's just like completely like different, and it's working. So definitely the right call that they made that night for that match.
Okay. As far as Toni Storm's character goes, I just interpret it as Marilyn Monroe with the volume turned up. That's literally.
You mean turned down? You can't even hear her.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the silent films.
Exactly.
But as far as the match goes, I mean, My only gripe about the match was, like as Lewis had explained, was just the finish of her using that tray or whatever it was, sticking it up the back of her tights and using the hip attack, because it's like the referee is right there, and it's like for the referee to not see that.
See it.
How do you not see that? And this actually was a trend throughout the night with AEW and their officiating or the production team or whatever it is. There's definitely a disconnect. Because the production will shoot what they're not supposed to shoot with the referees to make it seem like the referees are absolutely clueless, but a lot of that stuff is supposed to be off camera anyway. So when you see it live, it's just like, how do you not see that clearly she has the pin right there? Yeah, she hits her with the pin, goes for the pin, and as you're giving her the title, you clearly see the fucking tray is sticking out her ass. When common sense tell you that clearly she used this as an advantage. Now you didn't see it, but it can be inferred because it's like the evidence is right there.
Maybe he thought it was part of her gear.
Hey. The referees might not be as intelligent as the ones back on SmackDown with Eddie Guerrero back in the day. Okay, so we gotta times have changed. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but as far as the decision goes, this was the only decision that you can make, because she's the hardest woman in their division right now, between her and Julia Hart. I know we'll cover that match coming up, but as far as their women's division goes, they made two very good booking decisions this past Saturday, and having Toni Storm as your women's champion just opens up the possibilities for numerous feuds, because her character is so dynamic, being this Marilyn Monroe with the volume turned up, that you can have anybody chasing her, and you can make an entertaining feud out of it based upon her Marilyn Monroe character. You know, imagine how many like silent films that she could do based upon whoever her opponent is. So there's so much potential, and as they always say in wrestling, the story is in the chase, with the babyface chasing the heel anyway. And Toni Storm being the top heel in their division, with everybody chasing her, I mean, that's only going to open up like endless possibilities. So definitely glad to see that Toni Storm is now their champion.
I mean, I feel like the title switch needs to happen, and with Sheeta, it just feels like her runs are kind of flat. Like they really don't know what direction to go with her. I know they try to give her, as you guys said, the kendo stick angle, where that gives her a little edge, I guess. But it's like, that's not that. You need something more than that, especially for her character at this standpoint. So maybe this is a way to kind of refresh her, kind of give her something new, give her something to chase, maybe give her some type of edge with her character. With Toni Storm, it's the right booking decision, because she's the character that she's built herself up. Like, this was something where we just thought that she was kicked out of the Outcast and stuff like that, and she was going to just be the person that was the lesser out of the other two guys, Saraya, Ruby Soho, and things like that. And she has been able to turn this around and make it her own, and now is at the top of the women's division. And as you guys said, she can go a whole bunch of different directions, of course, with Saraya, if they want to go back to that angle and go back to that, because they really haven't gone back to that as yet. So that's definitely look like it's in the card. So to see it from that standpoint and see what direction she goes, it's going to be interesting. But as you guys said, the right title change was made.
One question, and I don't know, Brian will probably have the answer to this. It's crazy to think that we see all the other ROH titles, like the pure title, the television title, the tag titles, the world title, but then why is Athena still the women's ROH champ?
I believe she is. Yes.
Is she even like wrestling at this point?
If you're watching Ring of Honor, I mean, we're very busy individuals during the week, and
I don't even know when ROH.
I mean, Ring of Honor, Thursday nights, same time Impact does on their own streaming site for Ring of Honor. Yeah, I think it's called Honor Club or whatever the streaming service is, but I'm assuming she's still the champ over there, and I guess they don't bring her over to AEW because I guess they want to keep something like special for Ring of Honor, like exclusive. Exclusive. Yeah, keep something exclusive on Ring of Honor. Other than that, I don't see why you wouldn't feature her. I mean, the women's division is always struggling as is. You need all the help you can get. Having Athena every week will definitely be an addition. So my guess is the women's title is exclusive to Ring of Honor, I guess.
She made an appearance on Dynamite and stuff like that every now and then, but it's like they really haven't brought her up to show her doing it, like even anything on Collision as much. So it's definitely interesting to see.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, Daniel, and from what I've been seeing in like highlights on YouTube and on social media from her current character, she kind of has a little entertaining gimmick right now where she kind of like taking like younger superstars, calling them minions and putting them under her tree and kind of like using them in matches to get wins and such. So it's entertaining.
But yeah, definitely most certainly that is entertaining and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see what happens with Toni Storm, and we'll see where her run is, the silent movies, Butler and all that. And now she has this fan coming in now, celebrating with her. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic. Obviously, she's going to be a tag along and obviously be a person that helps Toni Storm continue to win. So we'll see how that goes. Our next match was the 4-man ladder match with Ricky Starks and Big Bill retaining their titles over FTR, King of the Blackthorn, and I don't even know the other team. I'm not going to act like I do. Falcon?
Roosh.
Yeah. Roosh and
Was that Sin Cara? Or was that Drilistico?
Yeah, Drilistico. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Sin Cara?
I don't know. Probably not.
It's either like the first Sin Cara or the second Sin Cara. I don't even know.
He would have to be the first one. Matter of fact, I don't even think it's any of the Sin Caras, because the real first Sin Cara, they actually had a match with him and Rocky Romero on Rampage like a month or so ago. So they've already kind of told the world that I think his name is Mystico. That's his character name in Mexico. So they've already featured him on Rampage. So Mystico is just a separate person completely.
No, but they got the big one in that match, returning their titles, Big Bill and Ricky Starks. What do you guys think about this hard-hitting affair? And FTR kind of just in the Blackthorn. So this did have some tag teams in there, some guys that could go. But what do you guys think about the decision to keep the belts on Ricky Stark and Big Bill?
I understand the decision, but this was one of those matches where I felt like this match wasn't like necessarily needed on the card. I understand why they would have it, because Ricky Starks is a hot heel right now with him and Big Bill, and obviously FTR is FTR. Roosh and Drilistico, they just came back, so you want to build them out, and House of Black is House of Black. But I just felt like this match, you could have saved this match specifically. You could have put this on Collision and got a number out of it. This fatal 4-way could easily be your main event. And honestly, Collision needs everything it can get right now for it being in the slot that it's in, what the time of the week that it's in. But as far as the match itself, it's your typical AEW multi-man tag match of organized chaos. There was a lot of spots. I mean, when you see the different styles, and they say styles make fights. So Drilistico and Roosh. I mean, we could go through a lot of other spots. I kind of liked Roosh's spot when he had, I think it was Big Bill in the corner, and he put the ladder by his throat. And he drop kicked the ladder. I thought that was entertaining. I think it was Brody King. I think he who was it? I think it was Drilistico when he met. Yeah,
I was going to talk about that.
which is kind of funny, because it ended up being the story of the ladder that refused to break. Because first,
what is up with AEW and WWE having ladders refusing to break?
Exactly.
They're ladders.
And then Cash Wheeler sees that, tries to improvise. He gets up there, starts stumbling, and then tries to jump. And then obviously him stumbling messed up his momentum, because then he crashed on Brody King, and the ladder refused to break. So, and that's the sad thing. But so much stuff happened in this match, but that was the one thing that really stuck out. But other than that,
indestructible ladders.
Yeah, the indestructible ladder. Yeah, because that's the thing with AEW in these matches sometimes, because it's like they go above and beyond, but they go above and beyond on Dynamite and Collision and Rampage too. That like it's not special. So a lot of the stuff that you see, which will be special elsewhere, it's not special because it's like on top. They're like on top of each other. These like moments are like on top of one another. So it's like you see it and it's just like it's not as impressive.
Mm-hmm. I mean, taking a pile driver to an unbroken ladder is crazy.
Yeah.
But you can go ahead with it. Like, that's crazy. Like I don't like Jesus. Well, like even seeing the spot, like him setting up, like getting his feet right, walking across the ladder. I'm like, oh, it's gonna break. And then he did the pop, and then it didn't. I'm like, dog. Like,
it's almost like it was going to break, and then last minute it didn't break.
For sure.
Go ahead, Louis.
It's crazy. I feel like there were good. I mean, you guys already touched upon it, but yeah, that match with that spot with Brody King and Driscoll, I was like, yo, y'all crazy doing these pile drivers on these.
Who signs up
on these ladders?
Who signs up for that?
Hey, that's the name of the game, right? And then with Cash Wheel almost busting his ass and still flying over. I feel like there was another spot that was really good. I just can't think of it right, but I thought the match was great. And I know you said this match should have been held for Collision, but be honest, if this was on Collision, everybody would just seen the highlights. I feel like nobody would have really actually watched the match. You know,
you run that risk, but as an attraction though, like this, they actually like promoted it like as a main event, maybe, but Saturday is Saturday, I guess. But
yeah, so what was the name? I don't get why House of Black has another name for their tag team. What was it? It was like
Kings of the Black Thorn.
Yeah,
I don't know why they have so many like different names and stuff like that.
Yeah, so when Malachi Black and Brody King team up, they're specifically called the Kings of the Black Throne. But when the whole group is still the House of Black,
House
it's just
Black,
when they team up. Yeah.
Okay.
More merchandising.
Yeah, exactly. So if Malachi was teaming up with like Buddy Matthews, they still would be called the House of Black. Yeah.
Okay. Honestly, yeah. And again, this was another instance where like when and I think we talked about it in the past where Ricky Starks and Big Bill won the titles. I was like, when the fuck did this happen? I thought FTR was like, and I guess they like brutalized them or whatever. So I wasn't surprised that they kind of retained, because I think this was like their first big, like really big, like
win.
Defense. Defense. Honestly, I mean, obviously some teams you're like, oh, they're definitely like Rush and Jalistico. Who else was in it? It was Rush and Jalistico, Big Bill, FTR, House of Black, and was it just 4?
4 teams.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know. I'm always rooting for House of Black, honestly. Like I want them to just like be taken. Like I feel like they could easily be taking everybody out, and as cool as like their entrance and appearance and everything is, it's just like I feel like they're not giving that spot as much. But whatever.
No, I want to see Malachi Black like not branch out, but at least have some single success while still being with this group.
Yeah.
Because like he should be leading the faction like Swerve does,
Yeah, because initially when he came in before the faction, he was feuding with Cody, and when someone comes in and starts feuding with Cody, like that shows they have an upward trajectory of like they have a plan for that person. So you thought that okay. They're gonna maximize his value and do things with him that WWE should have done, because the tail end of his WWE run was the shittiest booking I've ever seen. When they had Seth take out his eye and then he had the eye patch on during that whole feud with Rey Mysterio during the pandemic. So
do not remind me.
Yeah. The last couple of months with WWE were pretty bad. So he initially came into AEW, you thought that okay, he's gonna have a fresh coat of paint. They're gonna push him as a single star. I mean, they gave him the group, but I just want to see him branch out now.
Or at least they should be helping him get gold. Like that should be the natural order of things, or him and Dirty Murphy and
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you got enough titles to go after. I mean, you got how many options you have? Like 6 or 7 options. Like, go pick one.
Nah, but definitely a hard hitting affair with this team. Big Bill and Ricky Starks getting that showcase, getting that win. Hopefully that continues their reign as a tag team champs, and maybe we can get more people. Again, we've always seen FTR, the Young Bucks. So I mean, we're getting different showcases of different tag teams, and that's nice for AEW. Let's get into Julia Hart defeating Chris Statlander and Sky Blue to win the TBS title. I feel like Chris Statlander has kind of been out of sight, out of mind, kind of making odd appearances here and there. Julia Hart building herself up, especially with that spray. Was it her that she sprayed the mist in Sky Blue's face, right?
Yep.
Transitioning Sky Blue's character a little bit more of a darker character of her own. She ended up taking the pin here. What do you guys think about that? Julia Hart getting the win, getting that title, and starting her Apex.
I was shocked. I was very shocked.
Well,
really?
Well, not shocked, but how can I say this? I wasn't shocked.
Brian's trying to act like he wasn't shocked. He was. Shocked.
I wasn't shocked, but it made sense why they went in that direction, and it was a smart decision that they went in that direction, because again, like I said with the Toni Storm decision, as far as that women's division go, these were 2 brilliant booking decisions by Tony Khan, and with the way that the women's division has been, like they needed a boost, and I think Julia Hart has definitely been that boost. I mean, when you see how her character has evolved over the years, when she was just a cheerleader with the Varsity Blondes to now. Because when she first joined House of Black, I didn't like see how she would fit. I just saw her as the cheerleader that she was, and thought that like her being this dark character, it's not gonna click. But now it has clicked with the, because they've definitely tried to like single her out now. Because before she was just that female member of the group that would just be there. Matches and stuff, but now she's branched out. I love the theme music, love her whole presentation, and like they said, their women's division needs everything that they can get right now, and to have now another consistent character behind Toni Storm, that's a good thing. To go into Sky Blue, loved her entrance, loved how she made it clear that she's this new darker character now, taking her hat off and stepping on it, putting the crown on. The only thing
I
about
do like the darker Sky Blue,
the darker Sky Blue, but the only thing about her character is that she, like story wise, she became this character because of Julia Hart blowing the mist in her face,
and they had that one spot in the match too.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But my whole thing is, she's becoming this character because of Julia Hart. So wouldn't it make more sense for them to be together? Because with Sky Blue right now, it's almost like, okay, she became dark. She became this darker character because of Julia Hart. But she's making it seem like, oh, I became dark on my own, and I'm my own character. Not necessarily, because you became dark because of Julia Hart. So you would think that there would be a connection between them. And now going into Chris Statlander, I'm glad that she actually lost the TBS title, because she needs to level up and actually be going after the AEW World title. Now, when Jade was TBS champion for all that time, and then Chris Statlander came back, it made sense. It made sense because Chris Statlander was one of the AEW originals for the women, and it was believable that Chris Statlander would end the Jade streak. So having her have the TBS title for all this time was good, but there was time, like a couple of weeks ago, or like a month ago, for her to finally elevate and move on to the next level. A Toni Storm versus Chris Statlander feud is actually something that I would be intrigued with. So from that standpoint, this is actually one match where it's like the actual result of the match or the quality of the match didn't really matter, because all three characters progressed in a sense. Yeah, Julia Hart now continuing continuing to elevate with her character. Sky Blue with a brand new character, and now Chris Statlander going to the next level. So you can definitely see that with this match, like the women's division there that Tony Khan is trying. So
I think the only reason I was shocked that this happened was because I don't know. I think with Chris Statlander beating Jade Cargill, obviously kind of ending a monumental run. I just didn't think that she would lose it to
Julia Hart.
Well,
technically, she didn't lose it to her. Sky Blue lost it for her. She was protected.
Yeah, she stole it.
Hey, you lose a triple threat, you lose a triple threat. That's the name
she stole
of the game. I mean, yeah, she can challenge for it later on, whatever. But hey, she lost the match. And on side note, what is it with Chris Statlander being so obsessed with Ben Stiller movies? She had the Zoolander outfit, and then she had a dodgeball outfit for this one. And she was which I thought was hilarious.
She said in the interview. She said in the interview she's a fan. She's a fan of his. So
yeah, because last time she had the blue steel, the Magnum
with Warhammer games.
Yeah,
like that's her gimmick. Like she comes out in those costumes too. So
yeah, so I think that's kind of the main reason why I was really surprised. I was like, and I've seen Julia Hart stuff. I love her entrance. I know she's been doing the Miss stuff lately. I don't know. I think it's just because maybe Chris Statlander, even during the match, was just such a powerhouse and literally took the other one out, taking them out, and it's just like, is she really gonna lose this title right now? So that's not what she did. I was like, oh, I was just like, I did not see that happen. But after everything Brian just said, I guess it kind of makes sense because developing new characters, it probably is time for her to get somebody else into that main event picture. So, but it was definitely a great match. I like what they're doing with Sky Blue now. I feel like, I don't know, she was kind of like this baby face, which I mean, I think kind of happens sometimes, kind of like a Bailey situation. Your baby face for so long, at some point you just got to turn. Exactly, no more hugs. But I don't know, just gives these characters more edge and more suitable competition, I guess, just to actually be okay, she can actually go, or her character actually makes sense to actually be involved in these title matches and stuff. So, but overall, great match though.
And I also want to say before you go, Daniel, about Julia Hart, when you go back and you look at that whole Varsity Blonde stable, you got Julia Hart, TBS champion. You got Brian Pillman Jr., Lexus King, now on NXT, where based upon what I saw on NXT tonight, he's going to be in a feud with Carmelo Hayes.
Really?
Yeah, they're trending in that direction now. I guess apparently Lexus King cost Carmelo Hayes a chance to be in the Iron Survivor Challenge.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they're trending in that direction, but then the third member of that group, Griff Garrison, last time we saw him, he was getting folded by Wardlow. So the scene in this group, two of them are progressing, and then the other one is just getting his ass kicked every week. That's something funny that I was thinking about.
No, but just thinking about again what you guys have been talking about is just character development with AEW stars, right? We've seen it with Toni Storm, we've seen it with Julia Hart, we're even getting it with Sky Blue. So that's good that we're getting those type of angles there. Julia Hart could potentially turn around and just feud with Sky Blue, because that's still a feud that they're going to be going back and forth. Chris Statlander, obviously, we want to see her move up to face the AEW Women's Championship and maybe get into that type of title scene, because she's kind of been in that TBS mold since she's been there. It's going to be interesting to see where that goes as well. Looking at it from that standpoint, especially you guys being saying that you guys are shocked to a certain degree because Chris Statlander just defeated Jade Cargill, who had this undefeated streak. You're figuring it would have took a little bit more to get the title off of her, but it was a three-way match. That happens. That's always the unpredictability of those matches. But to get that ending, maybe that's a way that she can bump up without taking a loss, taking any loss of credibility or anything like that. So hopefully that's the direction that they're moving in. Let's get into the most gnarliest match of the night. Swerve Strickland
I've been wanting to talk about this all night.
getting a win over Adam Hangman Page in one of the most craziest matches.
Give that man a title shot
in a long time.
Talk about Swerve.
Really putting it all out there. Lots of excessive blood. Lots of hard hitting affairs. Swerve Strickland getting the freaking cinder block, man. That like that whole match had so much personal animosity towards each other. Building that up, the chain, everything, the staple gun, everything going into that. You guys can go.
Lewis, before you go, so the way that I ended up watching Full Gear was I watched half of it on Sunday night and the rest of it on Monday.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. So on Monday when I was watching it, I actually took notes after Hangman hit the first buckshot, literally like 20 seconds into the match. Because I knew after that we were going to see some serious stuff. So I actually have like a full page of like all the spots, and when you read them back, this match. I know some fans online are saying that this probably was one of the best matches they've ever seen. But when you read some of these spots and some of the stuff that they did to one another, it's just it's unbelievable. Like I know Daniel shared a quote from Jim Cornette when he was talking about this match, stuff that he was saying, stuff that he had to say. But you can go ahead, Lewis, since you want to talk about that.
I saw most of the build up to this match, and before we get into the actual match, it was so funny because obviously this kind of stemmed from Swerve kind of calling out Hangman, like, dude, you've been in the top spot, and you've gotten comfortable. You're not driven anymore. Like you were champion, and what are you doing now? You're not doing anything. And they had that first match. Swerve still got the win, which I thought was great. But then the fact that this escalated and went into one of those
feuds,
Randy Orton going to somebody's house and Swerve legit talking to Hangman's baby on camera, like, oh, I'm gonna take your daddy out and this and that. Like I thought was great story building. The only reason I mentioned all that is because the funny stuff that people were like, oh, why would Tony Khan? Why wouldn't you suspend Swerve for breaking and entering into Hangman's house? Like, are we really going that deep now to believe that this man really broke in?
Why didn't WWE suspend Samoa Joe when he pulled up at AJ Styles' house that one time? It's stupid.
Angles like that are like, it's just so. It's so great for the
WWE suspend Seth Rollins when he went to Edge's house. Like,
it makes him look so sinister, and like I feel like it does wonders for them because it's like, yo, this dude.
It's funny because as many times as we've seen it, it still works to a certain degree. Like even if you think it's cheesy or anything like that, it still works.
The only ones I probably didn't like too much were the whole. Just because I feel like they did it too much was the whole Dominic and Ray thing at like you had the Thanksgiving, you had the Christmas. It's just like Dominic.
That was funny. That was funny. I like those.
We did it too many times.
Every holiday just gonna beat up his pops.
Yeah. But either way, like Brian said, the fact that Hangman started with a buckshot off rip, you're like, yo, this match is gonna go crazy. And literally what I guess kind of made me focus more, and I knew definitely when they started with the staple guns or the staple gun and literally stapled his kid's art to Swerve's face, priceless. But the fact that this man literally got under his face and was just like, give me your blood, and literally put it in his mouth was ridiculous. I don't know if it's just that, like, I guess
right when that spot happened, I was like, oh, Daniel's loving this. Yeah, this is his favorite. This is
I'm like, Dan's like, why is he doing this?
It's all right. I know Daniel's loving this. He's recording it. He's gonna share
I'm
it on
like,
social media.
Literally.
My first thought was just like, how is that even allowed anywhere like in America? Like, how do you okay that? How do you okay that? Like that's
exactly. Which I thought was crazy. I think that alone, and then like the fact that even with the staple gun, the fact that you literally saw the staples in Swerve's chest, literally just like shining off and everything, I thought was crazy. For sure. The spots they had with the barbed wire chair and everything, and just wrapping around their faces, and then the cinder block spots were also two. I said two cinder block spots because there was a moment where he dropped them on it, it didn't even break, and then he freaking threw it at him, and it shattered on him and everything.
Right. Okay.
And I almost Brian will probably bring this up, but when he brought out the little black bag and everybody's like, "Oh, it's tax." It's like, no, it's shattered glass.
That's literally just like that's actually one of the first notes that I put the glass spot with the 450 splash.
I can't remember. I'm literally just trying to like rewind it all in my head right now, but it's like there was so much in that match, and honestly, that could have easily been the main event. Like that almost should have been, because they went all out in that match, and it's like, we get it, probably like Daniel say, this isn't for everybody, but this was a grueling, tough, like WWE, we see TLC matches, Elimination Chamber or whatever, hardcore matches, but we don't see them that very often. But we'll see more of this in AEW. But even though when they do it, sometimes I think it's just like, too much blood, like why do they keep doing this? But this was one of those matches where it was like too much blood, but they are doing some crazy shit, and that's what it was. I was literally on the edge of my seat just watching.
It was a Texas.
I was watching it on my phone, and I'm just like, what the hell? Like,
it's a Texas death match. It had all the elements of just hard hitting affair. They definitely added it up. I think Swerve Strickland had a tribute to Terry Funk with his trunks.
Yeah.
So that was a nice touch and all that. Again, the shattered glass, the staple gun, and the cinder block is not for everybody, especially me. I was like, what the hell are they doing? The cinder block, we've seen it before, and especially in WWE, we've seen it before where they play that angle and stuff like that. But the blood part, I was just like, okay, like that's crazy, because that's like, if we get a zombie outbreak, we know where it started. We knew where it started. But yeah, I was just happy from the standpoint of Swerve getting that win, because he's been that guy that we really haven't. We always thought that can be on that level of just building if he was just booked right and stuff like that. So AEW pulling the trigger on that. Obviously, this is putting him in a different stratosphere, right? Like he shouldn't be mid card. He shouldn't be trying to do these dumb feuds anymore or anything like that. He should be leading the embassy to new heights and bringing everybody along with him to get to the title. That should be the new story going forward for him for now. And then you just think about what WWE dropped the ball with him, with Hit Row and stuff like that, and not bringing him back and all that, and seeing how he developed his body, his size, his style. Kudos to him for bringing it to the table, bringing his game up. And AEW has a new star. Most certainly has a new star. There's no excuse why he shouldn't be in the main event level now. For Swerve.
Mm-hmm. So before I get into the nitty gritty of this match, let's talk about some bright spots. Well, first off, Swerve's entrance, the dance routine with Prince Nana, which apparently now him doing that is a thing on social media right now on TikTok.
TikTok,
So on his Instagram page, he shares like a lot of TikTok videos of like fans like trying to emulate the dance.
Yeah.
So he's definitely created that. So I like the entrance, but just like you guys said, I mean we could spend like at least half an hour going through all these spots. We talked about the glass spot with the 450 splash. You talk about the barbed wire, the barbed wire board that they brought out, and the
moonsault
that played the role. You talk about the fall away slams that Hangman was doing.
Forgot about that one.
Yeah, see, there's so many. There's so many.
A lot to dissect in that match.
And like Daniel said, I know that there's there's an audience for death match wrestling. Some people think it's too grotesque. Some people think it's not actually wrestling because it doesn't require any skill per se, because they think like hitting somebody over the head with something or pouring some glass on somebody and then doing a move, that's something that anybody could do. Like you see a lot of these backyard wrestling organizations that have that,
like GCW and stuff.
Those organizations. But there is an audience for it. Me personally, I kind of like all forms of wrestling. I can get into deathmatch wrestling as long as we don't see stuff like Hangman drinking Swerve's blood. I thought that was a little excessive. I mean, like Daniel said, who signed off on that? You would think now with how prevalent COVID and everything is now that would be the last thing that you would do. But if you actually
went from masks to drinking blood.
But if you actually watch how the storyline had been progressing over the last couple of months, that's how deep the feud had gotten. I mean, when Swerve went to Hangman's house every week after that, you got like a different,
escalated.
Even at an indie show too.
You got a more frustrated and serious Hangman. So from that standpoint, I can understand why they did it, but it was just like it was so creepy and
grotesque.
Creepy. I think that's the only time where they kind of went too far in the match. Everything else they did kind of falls in line with what I said about the match, where it's like okay, you guys did it, but it's not special because we've seen it in like other matches and other PLEs and everything. So, I mean, and then you get to the finish. I mean, to finally get him to surrender, what did Swerve do? He hung him, right?
The chain,
he hung the Hangman.
Hung the Hangman.
He hung him to win.
Is that the end of his gimmick then? The whole Hangman page? He got hung.
He's going to come back as a zombie cowboy, basically. Gun grave.
If you like deathmatch wrestling, this was definitely probably one of the better death matches that we have seen in AEW. I actually think this is AEW. This is the best death match AEW has done so far. I know for sure. Hangman's done a couple of them. I know he did one with Lance Archer.
Yeah,
but those weren't as good as this was.
Yeah, no. So one thing about the whole drinking blood thing, and I think I forget who I read or was listening to that said it was like Hangman was literally telling him like, I'm going to bring you to hell, like I'm gonna kill you, all this and this. So I think it was just like all the promo work. I think they were just like, we got to do something so gnarly that it's like bringing all this to fruition, I guess. So I think I kind of get where they were going for, just like that shock value. I know for a lot of people, like, yo, that's disgusting. How could you do something like that? And that's where they're like, yo, this is too grotesque. But to think that anybody could literally do a death match is like, oh yeah, I'll just shatter some glass on me or wrap me in some barbed wire. Like, that's not an easy thing to do. That's not an easy to just put your body like, oh yeah, it's not fucking razor wire, but it's like, it's still barbed wire, and it's just like, Daniel, your mic's off.
I'm not signing up for that. No, not at all.
Why not? It's a spectacle, you know.
I don't care if I'm supposed to trust the other guy across from me. It's not happening.
Hey, what if it's somebody you know, right? But
I need a big cash bonus then if I'm ever.
Exactly. If they give you a
cover my medical bills. And recover all my scar tissue too, you know.
Like, nah, that's crazy, but no,
yeah.
Again, but I think the reason why it was one of the better death matches is because they actually told a story with it, rather than being, hey, like in the earlier days of AEW, hey, these guys are just battling, hey, Texas death match, and the hardcore match.
No, what do you mean early? We mean earlier days. They still do that shit now. Well,
Yes,
what was the last death match though? What was the last?
I specifically remember.
I
think they did like
matches.
it wasn't a death match, but it was like a hardcore match. It was like I think it was like it was Jay Lee. I think it was Jeff Jarrett and Jeff Hardy. And like I think they did like a random hardcore match because it was Halloween.
Yeah.
Oh, the whole
that was a death match too.
One?
Yeah.
Leatherface. That was a death match.
Yeah, Leatherface. Yeah, Leatherface. Yeah, that was a death match randomly.
But yeah, I guess it wasn't that great because I didn't even see any highlights from it. I heard people complaining it was just
they said it was bad
and terrible because they were promoting the video game.
Yeah. They said it was bad. But this one actually had a story. It actually had two guys going for something. Swerve Scott trying to elevate himself. Adam Hangman Page trying to hold on to his spot. Some give and take. Got personal. Got animosity between the two. Got a big blow off between the two. And Swerve ended up winning. So definitely kudos to all those guys involved. Yeah, we'll see where it goes for Swerve. Hopefully this takes him to the next level. Hangman Page, again, like you guys have been saying, how many times have we been saying wrestlers need to take a break? He's probably one of the guys. He just came back though. So I mean, but just in general, it's like to have a gnarly match like that. I don't think he just shows up next week. This week, you know what I mean? So it's like,
but like you said, this definitely elevates him to that next level, and I really hope
it should.
Yeah, it really should, because after that type of brutal match and winning, like, how do you not be like, yo, give me a title shot right now? And I've been a big fan of Swerve since.
Yeah.
I wasn't, and he was in that like NXT 2.0 kind of phase, but I was still watching, and then when the Hit Row stuff started, and just like the grills and everything, I was like, okay, you got that swagger now, like it was cool. And then they got called up, and we know how that shit went go. But like for him to be thriving now, and after this, it's like this is how you climb that ladder,
Yes, for sure. So hopefully that's the next step for him. Let's get into our next match. The Golden Jets, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, defeat the Young Bucks for their number one contendership for the tag titles. What do you guys think about this match? Of course, the Golden Jets winning. The whole angle of will they, won't they coexist with Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho in this match against the Young Bucks. Obviously, the Elite, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks have a relationship. What do you guys think about this match and the Golden Jets getting the win?
This match was in a bad spot. Any match that followed Swerve and Hangman was going to be in a bad.
Wasn't this before the Hangman match though? Because I thought it was the Swerve and then the championship match, wasn't it?
No. It was Swerve and Hangman, then this match, then it was the championship match.
It was before Punk and Undertaker at WrestleMania. Anything following that, like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the match was good, but as far as like a crowd atmosphere goes, the crowd was pretty much dead for this because Swerve and Hangman had just told that story.
Phenomenal storytelling.
Phenomenal storytelling, and then by the time we got to the Bucks and the Golden Jets, even though the participants involved are amongst the most popular superstars with AEW. I mean, the crowd pretty much was still recovering from Swerve and Hangman, so it took away from the match. But the match itself was your typical young Bucks match. Whoever their opponents are, if they're able to keep up with them, you'll get an entertaining match. And Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho, they are who they are as far as in-ring technicians go. So, I mean, the match was good. Even they kind of telling this story again of the elite separating. I mean, they kind of is this going to be like a trend now for the elite? They'll come together and then
break up like 50,000 times,
break up again for another year, and then come back together for another year because a greater threat is out there. So it's pretty much been the same story with the elite. I think I saw a report somewhere that the Young Bucks are about to take some time off. Hence why they lost their title shot. But other than that, I mean, the match was good, but it just suffered in the spot that it was in.
I mean, coming off from a 30-minute match to turn around and go into a 20-minute match, it's like
it's a lot.
It's a bad spot. It's a bad spot for them.
Yeah. So for me, this match, it was okay. And maybe that's just like the way they went. I guess, like Brian said, if the Young Bucks are taking time off, then yeah, I guess Jericho and Omega, getting the number one contender spot. But at the same time, it's like, do they really need it? Like, why do? I mean, it is. I think.
What else are they gonna do?
No, I know, but
yeah, exactly.
I get, and this is I think my only problem. This is my only problem. It's like you have so many great, like, look at all the tag teams that were in that Fatal 4-Way match, and it's just like, besides Bill and Ricky Starks, they're not tag team wrestlers. Yeah, obviously, Big Bill in the past or whatever, but they're not actually like tag team partners. You actually have all these other legitimate tag teams going after. It's like, why not just let these tag teams go for the tag team titles? Why do we have to keep getting like, oh, hey, me and you, let's become a tag team, let's go win the titles, and then they win the titles? It's just that type of, I don't know, that type of like story building is not like, we see it here in WWE. Oh, hey, Cody, you brought me over, let's me you and
now we're
Jey Uso, let's become tag team title champions. It's like, why? You have so many tag teams. It's like, let's elevate the actual tag teams. But and I think the only issue I had with this match was I just don't get the Young Bucks characters anymore. It's like, are they heels? Are they baby faces? First they're with Kenny, now they're feuding against Kenny, and then I saw that, I'm not gonna sit here and say I've watched every episode of Dynamite to know what was going on, but I see the vignettes, for what led up to this match, and it's just like, you got Kenny like, oh, why don't you guys stop being little bitches? And I'm like, bro, aren't these your boys? Like, it just doesn't correlate why now you're just tagging. Yeah, you're tagging with Jericho because of your feud with Don Callis, but it's like now you're just coming after you're literally the dudes that you started this whole company with. It's just like, it doesn't really.
I think it's just a way that
I
think it's a way the Young Bucks can just join Don Callis and give Kenny Omega another person to fight.
And see, that's the thing again. And I talked about this last week. It's like
the allegiance to kill the Golden Jets or something like that.
This is what I'm saying. This whole
Tower of Doom match coming.
Yeah. Oh God. But this is what I'm saying. This whole Don Callis thing is just like, I feel it's just dragging on too long. And the fact that he was there ringside, for what reason? It's just like, and all this is for the tag titles. It's like, I get it. Yeah, Big Bill and Ricky Starks need contenders, but it's like, there's so many tag teams. Why won't they become the number one contender? Why is it another makeshift tag team?
Again, maybe this is just
another makeshift tag team getting the opportunity.
Maybe this is just a way to. I don't think that Big Bill and Ricky Starks are going to lose to Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho. Hopefully, that's not.
No.
But maybe this is just a way that they can continue the Don Callis family story.
But why?
Because they need.
What is the end goal? What is the end goal?
All extra levels of it to make it work. The only thing, again, when we always talk about factions or anything like that, the thing that we always look at is who gets over. Who do we create out of this faction? Who do we help get over? And it's like Chris Jericho, Kenny Omega, they don't need to get over. The Young Bucks don't need to get over. So it's like, what is the?
But this is what I'm saying. Why are they getting? Why are they getting number one contender spots? It's like you had this whole thing where Don Callis
to add another level of hate. To add,
but they're the baby faces. What do you mean level of hate? They're the baby faces.
I'm talking about for the Young Bucks and Don Callis. I'm saying
that's not
it gives Kenny Omega another thing to overcome.
No, but that's the thing. It's like, it would make more sense if the Young Bucks actually were with Don Callis and then he beat them.
I feel
like that would make more sense. But it's just like, it's like you had this whole thing with, you had Powerhouse Hobbs take out Jericho. Where did that go?
I mean, I just
you have all these guys part of the Don Callis family, and they're not even like winning or part of the pay-per-view. It's just like, where is this going?
I just saw
Powerhouse. Doesn't make any sense. It's just like Don Callis, like, I betrayed you. I'm still coming after you. For what reason?
I just seen Powerhouse Hobbs powerbomb Paul Wright into a car. That's all.
Yeah. He slammed him on a car.
Yeah. What was that match? That was between who? Powerhouse Hobbs?
Yeah, that was between the Don Callis family and the Elite.
Like a dragon match.
Yeah, that was the match that had the video game sponsorship involved.
Oh, yeah, that did so great.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just like I don't know. Leave the tag team titles to the actual tag teams. I'm not always a fan of just like these makeshift tag teams, and then they get the titles, and it's just like just because you have top guys who like are not in the main event story. Okay, let's just throw them in tag teams and stuff, you know. So it's like I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of it. That's why with the Young Bucks, I'm like, I don't know if they're heels or baby faces because they're throwing the tantrum, they're tearing everything apart. Yeah, they're turning, but weren't they heels to begin with? I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. They kind of been slowly telling this story of the Young Bucks turning. This actually goes back to Wembley Stadium.
Because they did the same thing. They didn't shake hands when
they lost. Yeah, so they lose that match, and then I think they ended up being in that. The following week being in the 8-man tag with FTR, and I think they lost that too. So these losses, it's a combination building up. It's
the Drew McIntyre timeline of storytelling.
Exactly. Yeah, and then they win those that title shot, and then they see Kenny Omega. They see their buddy over here teaming up with Chris Jericho. Somebody who at one point in time, I think Jericho, and when he was with MJF, attacked their dad. So that adds into the story. So it's kind of like Kenny, why you hanging out with this guy? And so the Young Bucks were already trending towards becoming, because I think at one point they were tweeners. Like going into this match, I think they were tweeners, and then their temper tantrum at the end of the match kind of cements, okay, like they're gonna turn heel now, or upon coming back from this hiatus, they're definitely gonna be 100% heel. Now if they come back and they're with the Don Callis family, I mean that's an interesting dynamic.
That is. I don't really see it happening, but we'll see.
That's happening. It's happening. I'm guaranteeing it's happening. Let's get into our last match of AEW Full Gear. MJF defeating Jay White in it was supposed to be MJF versus Jay White, and then it became Adam Cole versus Jay White. And then at the last minute, we got our advertised match of MJF facing Jay White. What do you
MJF was in a real pickle.
What do you guys think about this overbooked WCW, I want to call it, ring of booking for their world title to end the night? What do you guys think about this match that went 30 minutes with a one-legged guy in an ass-kicking contest, retaining the title from his
don't like this. I don't know. I'm a huge, you guys know I'm a huge
They overbooked it. They overbooked it, and they did.
They did. I'm not going to sit here and deny it. I'm a huge MJF fan, but these angles I am not a fan of. I don't like it when WWE does it with Cody, when they did it with the whole Brock thing. Oh, he's got the broken hand and blah, blah. Like, they're just not, oh, Seth has the broken back. And it's like, why does this?
Does he?
All these serious injuries miraculously overcome and either retain their title. It's just I'm not a fan of it. I'm really not, because it's just like, if this person literally has these serious injuries and then they're getting beaten to a pulp, they should lose the title. Obviously, we know MJF isn't losing the title anytime soon, which I will admit, and maybe in the smallest increment, I thought at one point possibly, but I was like, I know this isn't happening. So I'm just not a fan of these whole like being injured and like still going through the match and then still coming out victorious. It's just like, I feel like it does more harm to the other person that they're facing. It's like, look at Jay White coming into this company and being maybe not everybody's like hot for him, but he's still building himself up. Even though he has a long track record, but it's just like, what does this do to you that this man is literally like, I'm 100% healthy and I'm losing to a man with one leg because of just like bullshit, or like the fact that he's still going, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan.
And he was with the guns.
Mm-hmm.
And he was with the guns. And then you have one-legged Adam Cole literally not doing anything besides giving MJF the
MJF has one good leg. Adam Cole has one good leg. They're standing.
Oh, so that equals success, I guess, apparently. Whatever. I don't know. I'm glad he got the win because, I mean, not glad, but I mean, I knew he was going to get the win because he's not losing that title anytime soon. But I feel like it didn't do any favors for Jay White, and I don't know. I'm just not a fan of these whole like injury angles. So
yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. You just said it right there, Lewis. It didn't do anything for Jay White. I mean,
I don't think he did anything.
The torment that he went through for weeks of having his title.
This man stole MJF's title like 2 months, like a month and a half ago. And they've been telling this story of MJF trying to get his belt back, but not wanting to be in a 4-on-1 predicament. And then meanwhile, MJF is in other feuds with Wardlow, and then you got Samoa Joe trying to convince him to be his friend so he can get a title match. So a lot of stuff was going on. MJF was already overexposed to begin with, and then you overexposed him even more with this booking. And like Daniel said, you overbooked your main event. And as much as I don't like whenever Daniel compares AEW to WCW,
always
late 2001 WCW when they were like a hell cart on wheels. This type of booking that they were doing. You didn't have to necessarily have MJF be taken out to have him overcome something. Like, I don't understand what the point of that booking was. It's because Adam Cole was there, and they kind of want to get Adam Cole incorporated back into the story somehow. So you have Adam Cole say he's going to step in to kind of keep telling this whole friendship storyline with MJF and Adam Cole. You didn't really need to do that. And then we get into the actual match itself. The match was very good, but you know, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard for me to enjoy matches when guys have to sell injuries, because I'm always going to be focusing on that injury and how well that you sell it. I mean, if I'm seeing you getting up to the top rope and doing elbow drops to somebody on the outside, knowing that you have a bum leg that someone just attacked with a chair, I'm gonna look at it and think psychologically this makes absolutely no sense. If he's supposed to be selling a leg injury, what the hell is he doing going up to the top to possibly aggravate that injury? And I know it's professional wrestling, it's show business as such, but that's actually very, very important when you're telling a story. So the whole story was pretty much MJF selling the leg injury. First of all, I thought it was just his ankle. But then when he came out of the ambulance, his quad is taped. I'm like, hold on, didn't they attack? Oh, did they not attack his ankle? Did they not?
No, it was like his knee area
around his ankle, and they attacked the ankle. So other than it being overbooked, I mean the match was still good. I mean, it wasn't anything bad about it. It's just that based upon the booking circumstances that kind of took me out of it. Like I said, you know, Jay White, stepping in. I mean, like you said, AEW's been down on bodies, and so you know, Jay White stepping into his first like main event feud. You would think that they would book it better, that way he would look good coming out of it. And now he just looks like the guy that couldn't beat a one-legged MJF. And you can honestly say that Jay White's kind of had the upper hand in the feud since it started. You know, having the 4-on-1 advantage, stealing the belt. So you can definitely see now that this match has ended. Jay White is actually worse off than he was going into the match.
Yeah.
I don't think this helped anybody involved. I don't think it helped MJF. I don't think it helped Adam Cole. I don't think it helped Jay White. Like, I don't feel like it helped anybody involved in this match, because MJF, especially him getting the win after it was so over the top with the injury and him not selling it that it looked bad. And especially on Jay White, it looked bad. Of course, him not being able to overcome those odds that he created in his favor to not get that win, it looks bad on him. He doesn't look like a credible challenger even going forward. So you're not going to get a rematch after this. You shouldn't even get a rematch. You shouldn't be in the conversation as of right now.
Swerve.
And exactly, that's another thing too with the whole Swerve Strickland winning early in the night, you're like, obviously he should be in that next tier, right? But obviously they're continuing this Adam Cole Samoa Joe story where Samoa Joe helped him out early in the night, returning the tag titles. Now he gets a title shot. So now you go into that angle and all this stuff. It's like, all right, now you have a bum leg. You beat Jay White. It's like now you're going to turn around and beat Samoa Joe, who is a submission specialist. Like you shouldn't.
Wardlow.
Or Wardlow. Like you shouldn't win these matches that are coming your way. And especially if Swerve Strickland, as we've seen how hungry he has been, it's like, are you going to be able to overcome that? Another thing, too, we didn't get much progression in the Devil storyline. What's the progression of that? What's happening with that? And it's like that kind of fell in the back burner. And it's like, what's happening with that now? So looking at it from all the angles of that, it's like, I don't think that helped MJF, especially with his press conference with him crying. I know he's playing towards his character and stuff like that of overcoming the odds and stuff like that. And this baby face turn that he's had and trying to really cement that. I don't feel like they really needed to do that for him. But again, just overbooking. I called it WCW, and I feel like that's what we got on that one.
I also won't understand why they're still incorporating Adam Cole into this whole story. Like, let the man just
get healthy and get that.
I think because it was their top story when he was healthy. That's why.
Like,
the whole thing about that, he's not going to fall out of favor with the crowd.
As a company, I don't like. It's like injuries are going to happen, and I'm not saying you're always going to have a backup plan, but you have a plethora of superstars on your roster. Now it could be their own fault for maybe not having credible people that can just come into play and play that role. But it's just like you got somebody like, Daniel Bryan, Adam Cole, like we just talked about all these injuries. It's like there's no reason why someone who's injured should still be coming back to TV every week and then coming to pay-per-views and being there and saying they're going to step in and be in a match. It's just like, especially if they're legitimately recovering from like surgery and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. It's like, and after the whole, what's his face? The one with the neck. Roderick Strong.
We didn't even see him.
Exactly. I'm like, why not?
If Adam Cole is there, why do you not have Roderick Strong? Like,
and that's the thing, that you already had Roderick Strong interacting with MJF. Why not have him? I mean, I get it. They're not like best friends that Adam Cole is, but it's just like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. You could easily go a different direction. I don't know. Like Brian said, the match wasn't bad, but for me personally, I don't like those injury prone. It just doesn't. I get it's supposed to make the champion look, even with an injury, he still overcame the odds. But it's like the way they presented with Jay White, who was literally tormenting him for weeks, months, and then to still lose. It doesn't do anybody any favors.
I don't mind him losing. It's how they do it. That's the way it is.
I do.
Is the problem.
I mean, yeah. If he gets screwed, he gets screwed. But it's just like if it's a clean finish, it's like, what the hell are we doing?
Yes. So. But that's the only thing I had the issue with the match is just the booking. I mean, Jay White is obviously one of the top talents in the world, and for him to be involved in something like that and couldn't get the win. On top of the injury, on top of his friend's injury, helping MJF win Adam Cole, it's just like that doesn't do him any favors. And it's like, I don't know where you go from him. Maybe they just become more cunning heels and do more tactics, and maybe that's how you cover up for it. But right now, it's just I don't think that helped him at all. But AEW Full Gear, we had some good stuff, we had some great stuff, and we had some bad stuff.
Overall, it was
overall very good. That was a very good.
You're not going to get a bad card at this point in wrestling. I don't think you're going to get something that you're going to enjoy seeing.
And honestly, that's the best. I feel like this is what has AEW going is their PLEs, because I feel like at least with the Swerve thing, there was a great build up. MJF thing, still good build up, but it's like. They might not always have the strongest storylines going into their PLEs, but it's like they deliver when it's time to deliver. you know, they do good wrestling very well.
Bright spot for them. But that will do it for AEW Full Gear. I believe their next pay-per-view is World's End. In December or something.
Where
30th,
they will
30th?
they will crown champion number 19.
Hey, you need a belt.
You need a belt. You need a belt. You need a belt.
Small joke. Well, Hardcore Holly would have fit perfectly in this business. Give me the belt.
I beat everybody.
Well, we have 19 titles. Take your pick. But we'll see what happens with AEW continue to book, and we'll see what happens with that. Let's get into finally our Survivor Series picks here. Survivor Series taking place this Saturday. Thank you, babes.
I'll start working my magic.
All right, but no, you're not going to work your magic. I do not. I don't think I do. I have the pick totals here.
Come on now, don't deny me.
Brian is at 39-26. Lewis is at 48-17.
Ooh.
And I'm at 36-29, bringing up the rear. Thank you.
Okay. I'm gonna just say this before we go through our picks. I think the only matches that are going to be tough to pick are the actual War Games matches. Any other match that's not a War Games match is going to be very easy to pick.
I got to hear the whole card again. I got to hear the whole card.
25 minutes.
We can get into the first one here. Let's start it off with Carlito facing Santos.
This is easy.
Yeah, see?
This one we already.
Yeah, see? That's what I'm saying.
We already know.
War Games matches is going to be easy.
We really got to analyze this one.
Come on. Is this
no,
a bad one?
No. This one we can analyze.
I'm not saying it's bad. I think we already know the outcome.
No, this one we can analyze. It's the other two that aren't the War Games matches that don't need to be analyzed.
But no, I think the Santos Escobar finally turning on Rey Mysterio there. The LWO essentially. Selena Vega slapping him in the face. Getting all type of heel tactics with Santos, basically saying that he had a Tony Montana type of vibe when he came out there with his suit last week. But obviously turning on Rey Mysterio in the LWO, Carlito stepping in for Rey Mysterio, who is hurt at this point in time. What do you guys think about this build-up, and what do you guys think? Who's going to win this match, obviously?
All right, well, Lewis, you want to go first on this one?
Santos Escobar. Need I say more?
With the accent.
Exactly. Santos Escobar. You know?
I don't think you need to say anything else, but
all I'm gonna say is, like, does Carlito need a win right now? No. You just had this man literally just turned like last week. You know, you got to start building some momentum. There's no way there can't be a reason why he would lose, and if they do, then I don't know what the hell they're doing. So, the only intriguing part about this is he really on this turn on his own? Honestly, my mind was going somewhere where it's like, all right, if Joaquin Phoenix and I forget the other dude's name.
Cruz del Toro.
Cruz del Toro. If they're not going to join them, are they just going to get lost in the shuffle? And then is Santos going to maybe go down to NXT and pluck another Spanish tag team to come, maybe join El Legado? I don't know.
There is one available.
Exactly. So I'm like, that's kind of an interesting aspect, but it's like, this is I don't know. It could be like I'm very curious where they're gonna go with this story. Is it like, are we bringing back full Legado del Fantasma, or is it gonna be Legado del Fantasma 2.0, which they can't do, like Daniel just said. So,
all right. So I'm also going with Santos on this for the same reasons that you stated, Lewis. No, he's a freshly minted heel going into this match. So common sense would say that he has to go over, but obviously he's gonna go over in a dirty manner. Mm-hmm. I actually think it's gonna be revealed that, because I know that he cut a promo on Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, pretty much telling them like, yeah, you guys are trash, you're not siding with me, I'm done with you. But I think eventually they're gonna come around. I actually think that Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde are gonna help help him win to kind of like cement the fact that like Legado is going to be back together, and Carlito is going to be on his own. Because I saw a report that like the hopes of this feud is pretty much when Ray comes back, it's pretty much going to be Ray and friends versus Legado del Fantasma, and when Ray comes back with Carlito, who's going to be the third guy? And I is Dragon Lee. Because
that does make sense.
Because I think because I did read another report where they said that the plans for Dragon Lee moving forward are that when Rey Mysterio comes back, Rey Mysterio is kind of like serve as like a mentor for him, or to show everyone that like, hey, this guy right here, he's the future of Lucha Libre. So because of that, I feel like Legato's going to get back together, Carlito's going to be by himself, and then Dragon Lee is going to come in and team up with him temporarily. And then when Ray comes back, it'll all come together. But as far
that
as
makes sense. That makes sense.
Santos, yeah.
And Dragon Lee's been kicking ass on SmackDown. He just
yes, he has.
So he has been having his.
You saw the match with Axiom?
Yeah, that match is crazy.
So he's coming along, and I always think Dragon Lee. I always think of Japan. Dragon, Justin Tiger Luger, and stuff like that.
Ultimate Dragon,
Ultimate Dragon and stuff like that. So I'm just like, Dragon, but no, he's a luchador from Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, that fits in perfectly if that's the way they're going. Santos definitely needed something, especially after talking about his babyface turn, and they haven't really been doing anything. It's kind of just been, hey, we're tagging along with the LWO. Hey, we're the LWO. Look at us. But it really hasn't developed into anything. So this is the first storyline that we're getting that is really developing into something and maybe turning back to his heel tactics from NXT. We'll see who he adds to his team. I'm hoping that it's Cruz and Wild, because that's the original group that they were in NXT. So hopefully they can do that and move towards that, because I feel like those guys kind of need a rub right now as well, as they've been lost. So hopefully they can get back on track and become something. But yeah, I think we're all going Santos Escobar. I don't think there's any reason why Carlito should win, even though I think Carlito does need something because he kind of hasn't been doing anything. He does. So I can understand it from that standpoint if they give him the win, but it's like Santos Escobar, if we're building the story between him and Ray, he needs to get a win there.
Yeah.
Let's go to our next match here, which has been pretty
very interesting.
The Miz and Gunther for the Intercontinental. I don't know why that says international. Maybe I'll have the AEW.
When the Gunther be Orange Cassidy,
International Heavyweight Champion.
I definitely had that from
saying Gunther and Orange Cassidy face each other on a house.
That would be a banger though. For the Intercontinental Championship, Gunther has been steamrolling everybody basically for the Intercontinental Championship, thrusting down any challenger, Bronson Reed, Ricochet, Chad Gable, everybody who has stepped up in front of him. But he has this guy named The Miz in front of him on his babyface turn.
It's Mike Mizanin.
Mike Mizanin going back and forth here, where they had a pretty good kick-ass promo on Raw going back and forth. What do you guys think about this build-up and who you guys have winning this match?
Wow. I mean, like you said, Daniel, that back and forth promo they had on Raw was pretty much like the climax of this feud, because they're trying. I mean, they're really trying to make Miz seem like a legit contender to him, but and they're trying to use Miz's history with him being an 8-time Intercontinental Champion, 2-time Grand Slam champion. Kind of had Gunther trying to tell the story about how Miz used to get bullied as a kid, and then he looked up to all these WWE superstars that kind of made him mentally stronger. Then he came to the WWE and he got bullied all over again. And how he had to dress in the he was kicked out of the locker room, had to dress in the public restroom, which is all real. So they really did try. With Gunther pretty much saying that, like, I'm a real wrestler and this match is sacred, and you're an entertainer and you're a host. You're not even a superstar anymore. I mean, you're more for the entertaining side of WWE, and I'm the I represent the grit of being in-ring performer. So from that standpoint, those themes that they're trying to tell are entertaining. But at the end of the day, Miz was never going to be credible. Miz was never going to be credible to Gunther, no matter what they did. So Gunther retains. And right now at this point, I'm just looking forward to see who's it going to be. I mean,
you don't think there's a slight chance? I feel like just for shock value,
there's a slight chance because if this is to propel Gunther to the main event scene, yes, I can see that happening. But
because I for sure feel like Seth's gonna need a new opponent soon, and I don't think it should be Cody. And it's like, who else can go into that? Who hasn't gone into that main event title that could benefit that right now going into the new year? I feel it could easily be Gunther. And I feel like Gunther. I don't think Miz is the right one to take that from him. Yes, he has the history with the IC title, but technically, and
I mean, he's 4 for 30 a year, so I don't.
No, I know, but that's just the thing with Miz. It doesn't matter what his wins-loss record is.
I mean, if he's a
staple of the business.
The person who defeats Gunther has to be created. We have to create a star from that. The Miz is already. I don't think he needs that. I don't think he needs it. That's another thing.
So this is why. This is why I also thought, honestly, it probably should have been Bronson Reed, just because of size-wise, up and coming, taking people out. You know, they've been highlighting him, the tsunami, and all that stuff. I feel like,
the guy
even Chad Gable.
Should have been Chad Gable.
Should have been Chad.
Who by the way faced Noam Dar and out on NXT tonight for the Heritage Cup and the opening match, which was very good. You guys should take a look at that.
Did he win? I'm assuming not.
He
So and see, that's another thing.
It ended in a draw, and in a draw, the Heritage Cup doesn't change hands.
He retains.
Not to dive too much into it, but then I'm wondering what they're doing with the Alpha Academy, where it just kind of feels like, you know, the Gable method isn't working anymore because they've just been losing so much. Like literally everybody in, you know, the Alpha Academy has been losing. So yeah, but I don't know. There's a slight chance that I'm thinking maybe the Miz wins just because of what he did during that promo in terms of the low blow, which is where he says, you know, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I feel like, you know, for what they're trying to do with the Miz, it's pretty much been working, at least for me.
It has.
It's literally like, okay, Miz,
it's a valiant effort.
You're still being you, but yes, this guy is more of a monster heel right now, but you know, you've been here for so long, we could probably actually get behind you, you know. So it's just like, I don't know. Part of me is like, there's a slight chance because I feel like it might be Gunther's time to let go of that IC title, but I don't know. I guess I just haven't made a pick yet, so I don't know. You can go, man.
I'm going Gunther because I'm just like, the Miz is going to be that opponent that he just puts over himself, but it's just like, I don't see how the Miz can do it. I just don't think the Miz is the right guy to beat him because at this stage, the Miz just doesn't need it. Like, his resume doesn't.
But he hasn't had anything for a while. I feel like
he hasn't, but I mean, he hasn't gotten the wins though.
I don't think that has to do with anything with getting a title. You know, like look at the when he won his last thing, his last world title was because he got the Money in the Bank from Otis. You know, so it's not like he fully earned it and got a bunch of wins. He literally just took it from a guy that should have never won Money in the Bank.
I mean,
pandemic.
The wins that Gunther, the reign that Gunther has had, I just don't think Miz is the right guy to beat him. I just don't see it.
No. That's the way. No, that's the way it should be. And I know we've kind of had like a mixed thoughts about the Miz in previous months with his feud with LA Knight and such. But now I know you guys have felt that like it's for Miz, this is a good thing because he's kind of being portrayed in a different light. But I always just go back to when they tried with him as a babyface and it didn't really work because his whole demeanor is he's a natural heel. But Gunther, but like I said, they tried. I mean, because that back and forth that they had, I mean, it was pretty powerful.
It was very good. It was very good, and you get a positive reaction, So that's where I'm like, kind of iffy.
Shows the strength of the Miz.
Exactly. And it's like, could you imagine him actually pulling out a victory and then people being like, "Oh shit, the Miz beat Gunther," like how? Not that, like you said, he doesn't need to be propelled any higher, but it's just like, could this be like a resurgence? A resurgence that he hasn't had in a long time,
You think about the implosion, a little bit of dissension in Imperium as well.
Yeah.
Kaiser and Vinci.
Giovanni Vinci.
So you're looking at it from that standpoint, it's like, is that going to play a part in this where they cost Gunther his title in a way?
I have no idea where that's going. Like, I don't see why they're kind of divide. I don't feel like
I don't feel like they should
up at all right now.
Dividing up the group at all.
Unless they're adding new members. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I understand it from the standpoint of they want to be Gunther's right hand man, but it's like you guys are a team. Work together to achieve the goal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very true.
But we didn't get a pick there, Lewis. So who are you going with?
I think I might pull a Dan, and just for shock, I'm gonna go with the Miz. Just kind of like a shock the world type pick.
Going the Miz. Oh, it's set in stone now.
First time I've ever picked the Miz for anything.
Okay, I want to change my pick now because if he's picking Miz, that means someone in creative told him to do that. So
see, Brian knows.
There's no way he would have picked Miz unless he 100% got confirmation from somebody in WWE.
No, and you can't say that because remember, I was full blown down for Shinsuke winning that title, and look what happened.
Hey, that's one thing. That's one. That's one pick.
Well, obviously that means you heard something one day, and then the day of the show they made a booking change, and then they give you heads up.
It was too late. It was too late by then.
Yeah.
So you're going to miss too, Brian?
Nah. We'll still on this one. Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. I mean, this man broke Honky Tonk's record, and to
it's like, why does he still need the title? It's
exactly. It's like, yeah, this guy just broke Honky Tonk's record, and now he has the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Miz is the one to do it. Nah,
that's the only thing.
But it's like they've had so many people who probably should have already done it. Like I said, I thought it should have been Bronson. It should have been Gable. Obviously, timing of him surpassing the record was not ideal, but it's just like the fact that he's already beaten those two guys. Why does he even need to face him again? It's all new challenges. Like who else is left to challenge besides like Ivar?
That's it.
Akira Tozawa.
This is what I'm saying. Like, who else is really going to challenge for the IC title? What? Ludwig Kaiser's going to be like, oh, can I get a shot?
Hey, maybe that's what they're building to, long-term booking.
It doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense.
But no, me and Brian are going Gunther, and Lewis is going The Miz, shockingly. So we'll see what happens.
My brother would be so happy. He's a huge Miz fan. He really is.
But let's get into our next match here. We got Rhea Ripley versus Zoey Stark.
This one's interesting. This one's very interesting.
You think so?
I mean, they're trying to build a new star.
Yeah, all right, go ahead, Daniel. Go ahead.
I mean, with everything going on with Rhea Ripley and the Judgment Day, her handling everybody's business and stuff like that, I think that's going to play a part to a certain degrry.
I don't see her losing, but it's a small factor.
Zoey Stark. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Sorry to interrupt you, Dave, but here's the thing about this, Lewis. This is why I don't think this is interesting. Because you're right. The whole point of this is to try and build a new star, a new contender for the Raw women's division, right? So you're trying to build a new star. If you're trying to build a new star, why is the whole story going revolved around this match about how Rhea Ripley is so focused on Judgment Day business that she's not focused on the world title?
Mhm.
If you're trying to build a new star, shouldn't the whole feud be revolved around the fact that you have a new star who's on the rise, who's challenging this woman who seems invincible since she's now the leader of Judgment Day, since she beat four of the top women in the division at Crown Jewel. So you would think that this feud would be more revolved around Zoey Starks and how she's on the rise. But yet, when you look at their interactions, the whole interactions have all been Zoey pretty much telling Rhea, yeah, you're focused on this, but you should be focused on me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that's literally just been okay. What is it? What is it about you? What is it about you that should make Rhea focus on you?
I think the only thing that Zoey Stark has to go in for is that she's a young challenger. They needed a new face in there, and especially with Nia Jax and Raquel Rodriguez going at each other. Shayna Baszler kind of in limbo.
Again.
Really. But I think it's just another challenger for Rhea Ripley to defeat. They're going to have a good match, and Rhea Ripley's just going to steamroll her at the end and move on. I think that's all this is.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
So I don't think Zoey Stark has a chance in hell, even though I think she's talented.
Therefore, we all pick Rhea. Let's move on.
Yeah.
They're trying to develop.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think what Zoe's been saying, like, hey, you're focused on all this other stuff, which she is. You know, she's been dealing with the Drew stuff. She's been dealing with the War Game stuff. She's been dealing with the turmoil with Damian. You know, it's just like all these other things are taking priority to the actual women's division. You know, she beat everybody at Crown Jewel, but it's like, what have you done since then? You know,
it's almost like you shouldn't be sleeping on me, but why shouldn't she be sleeping on you? Like that's when they should have showed more like promo packages of Zoey Stark highlights, pretty much kind of like reintroducing the audience to who she is and why we should take her seriously going up against Rhea.
She won the battle royal. She won the battle royal, right? So if that's the ending part, but it's like I felt like they could have booked her winning matches over the course of the weeks leading into it, and maybe that would have gave her a better rub than just winning a battle royal out of nowhere.
But for sure, I'm going Rhea as well. So
we're all going Rhea Ripley. Let's get into our first War Games match of the night. The women's War Games match: Damage Control versus Bianca, Charlotte Flair, Shotzi, and Becky 4-on-4. I have been mad at this booking. Obviously, when we found out Becky was the mystery partner,
I tried to tell y'all. I tell y'all that we're gonna go in that direction.
I didn't think they would, honestly.
I'm just thinking.
I mean, I knew it was happening.
Side, once Oscar jumped, like they needed someone to kind of match that, and the only person that you could really think about that matches that was Becky.
What about Trish?
Wow. See, you said
she puts on Baker Cage matches.
See, I would have not known it was Becky if they hadn't on SmackDown been taking out all the women that they had talked to, like Mia Yim and who was the other one? Zelina. So right then and there, you're like, well, who the hell is left? Exactly. So. But I was a little shocked because, you know, I feel like the last interaction we've seen between Charlotte and Becky was not the prettiest situation.
Favorable.
So I was honestly pretty shocked that they were like, you know, hey, Charlotte, do you have someone? Yeah, I called them. They said they'll be here. And oh, Lord and behold, it's Becky. After all that beef they had with the passing of the belts and stuff. So I think that was the only surprising part. Now, as far as
it happened under Vince's creative, so therefore it never happened. So
sorry. But as far as winning this match, I'm gonna have to go Damage Control, just because they are newly formed. You got Kyrie, you got Asuka, you got Io. It could be one of those situations where they win and then kind of, maybe they're ready to kick Bayley out. I don't know, or maybe that'll happen on Monday, or whatever, Friday, whatever they're on.
They appeared on Raw, so I mean, who knows what day of the week it is.
Exactly. Do the brands even matter at this point? So, but yeah, I got Damage Control winning this one.
Yep. Yeah, definitely going with Lewis on this one. You got to go Damage Control. I'll even go one step further. Damage Control gets the win. Shotzi takes the pin. Real simple, because if you look at the rest of that team, none of those other three women really can take the pin. Well, they could, but it's not going to hurt them. But at the same time, it just makes more sense that Shotzi's the one that takes it. Like Lewis said, Damage Control just got stronger with the addition of Asuka. Kairi Sane just came back a couple of weeks ago. So with those two things, you kind of want to continue with this trend of Damage Control continuing to get stronger. I do think that throughout the match, though, you're gonna get teases of them possibly dropping Bayley in the future. Like you're gonna get a lot of that, and you can even see it on SmackDown for the last 2 weeks. Asuka's joined. Whenever Dakota Kai has mentioned something about Damage Control, and then bringing over Kairi Sane, or when Asuka joined, they keep alluding to this idea that it's us three. We have this similarity together. Well, it's us four, including Dakota Kai. We have this similarity together between the four of us. And Bayley has just been this annoying presence that's always just there. And granted, she's had more success than the majority of us, but as us four, we have a connection, and she's just there. And they keep teasing that eventually Bayley is going to be dropped. That you're going to definitely see that throughout the match. But you got to go damage control, because Kairi just came back, Asuka just joined, and Shotzi takes the pin.
I'm gonna go damage control as well. And I don't think they're gonna play that dissension as much, maybe towards the end of the match or whatever the case may be, but I feel like that breakup's gonna happen as soon. I feel like
there'll be like an accidental hit or something.
I feel like they're going to do that more towards when they're ready to have EO drop the title at some point, or maybe Bayley cost them a match or something like that. But I don't think it's going to be this War Games match. I don't want Shotzi to take the pin. I know she's the weaker member of the group, member of the group, but it's like I don't want her taking the pin. Let one of these other women take the pin. They're not going to get hurt taking the pin. So I'm like,
Charlotte's not taking the pin.
Definitely not Becky. Becky's too hot right now.
You want to know what? Becky Lynch has to take a goddamn pin. I'm tired of this.
No, she doesn't.
I'm tired of this crap. She just beat Xia Li. She just beat Xia Li.
Exactly. You know what, man? You can't even deny this, because from the beginning, from when Becky won that NXT Women's Champion, why does she need it? Why does she need to go down there, take us spots from all these other, and look what she's done. I honestly feel from her winning that title, look at how many more women's matches we're actually getting on Raw, and lengthier matches. Look at how long that match was that she and Xia Li had. It wasn't no 2-minute match. That was a good 10-minute match, And look at all the other matches he's had with other people on Raw. Yeah, so you're really? No, you can't deny that they're literally and look, it's not even just her matches. Look at the Nia Jax freaking Raquel Rodriguez. There was probably at least a good 3-4
I'll say this. Kudos for Becky for doing that run. Fine, that's fine. But these women should be getting those matches.
But I feel like this. I think I'm alluding to that. This kind of started with her because that was her goal, and look how that kind of blossomed into these more matches on Raw and SmackDown.
It's her goal, but then she just beat Xia Li.
Yeah, who roundhoused her 2 times and cost her championship opportunities, and now she's in a War Games match. It's
you want to know what?
You're just a Becky hater. Just say it.
No, I am. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn.
Okay, so you're biased. You're not gonna make a conscious argument.
What I want in War Games is for Xia Li to climb the cage and kick Becky in the head.
Shut up! No, stop it! Stop it!
Come on, don't
fly in with their daggers.
Don't China. Come on, don't China and Japan have beef right now?
I couldn't tell you.
So why was Ali helping them control?
She just been getting treated like crap in AEW. Come on over.
God.
Just come on over. I'm just tired. I don't want Shotzi to take the pin because it's like
she's gonna take the pin. She's gonna take the pin. You know what? It's either
she's gonna take the pin. She's the wicked
Shotzi or Bianca, but most likely Shotzi.
It's got to be one of the other women. It's got to be
because Bianca just lost recently. I don't see why she can't just take another pin. I feel like I want Bianca to just go heel so badly, please. But
hey, this can be the start. This can be a starting point into that heel turn. This can be
kind of like Drew McIntyre. See how that works. See how that works. See how that kind of.
I guess we'll segue into this crap. Let's
segue into this.
You guys like my segues? My segues are pretty good.
They've been pretty good. I'll give you
that. This one is the hard one because there's so many variables on both sides where it's like
this isn't even hard.
No, this is a hard one.
The Judgment Day facing Cody, Seth Rollins, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso
losing,
and they're returning Randy Orton.
Losing. You
cannot. I'm gonna go first.
Yes, go ahead.
Go for it. I'm gonna pick the Judgment Day.
See what I mean?
Because as much dissension as there is, and Drew, I don't know if he's actually with them or he's just helping them. They kind of played on that a little bit. But I just feel like why would we insert Drew McIntyre with the Judgment Day to have them lose?
See, there's that.
What's the point?
Can I counter this?
Yeah, go ahead.
They would lose, and this would be the exit of Damian.
I just think there's a little bit more story to tell there between him and Drew, because obviously they're going to be heads. But I think
there's a lot of turmoil of them going in because look at that.
Even with the advantage,
Damian being like, "I'm the leader," and then you got Drew over here, like. No, I'm gonna go get that advantage, which he did. But it's like, oh yeah, we got Drew now. Yeah, he's saying he's not part of Judgment Day, but he did what he said he was gonna do. And like, if they lose, Damian, you were supposed to be the leader. You cost us War Games.
Yeah, and I feel like that's gonna play up to it. But
I feel like that's the big factor. I feel like Damian's definitely out. Drew's slowly gonna get integrated, maybe not full. He's probably still gonna be the same Drew, but he's gonna use them to whatever advantage he can.
We didn't get the purple tights or the mascara.
Thank God.
Daniel, just to follow up on what you said, I think they did make it clear on Raw that like he wasn't a part of the group.
Yeah, he said that.
He's just helping as a favor to Rhea Ripley. Yeah, but
which is interesting because Mommy's looking at Drew a little bit more than Dom.
This is what I'm saying. They always call Damian the powerhouse. Now they got Drew, who's a little bit taller and a little bit stronger.
It's more spinach.
Yeah, so the reason why initially so originally the reason why I was looking at this and thought it was going to be a hard pick was because on the Cody and Friends side, obviously. We got the return of Randy Orton, who's been out for like almost a year and some change. So obviously him coming back, last thing you want to do is have him lose, but at the same time, he's Randy Orton. He's concrete. He's bulletproof at this point. So Randy Orton loses doesn't really doesn't mean as much. And then you got the Judgment Day on the other side, like Lewis said, telling this story of the dissension from within, and. So you would think that okay, they would lose, but at the same time, we go. I go back to months ago when the Bloodline storyline was kind of dwindling down, and Judgment Day was supposed to kind of like replace it in a sense. So the strength of the group. So obviously, keeping the strength of the group is important. So it would make sense for them to win. But Lewis made a good point in they've been telling this story for weeks about the dissension of Judgment Day, even going back to the build for Crown Jewel when Cody Rhodes called out Damian Priest and said, like, you're 6 foot tall, you're this and that, you're senior Money in the Bank. Why are you not the leader? So they've kind of been telling this story week after week, and so based upon that, I think Cody and friends are gonna end up winning because it does make more sense.
Do they have a team? Do they have a team name? Is it Cody's Heroes?
No, I'm just calling them because at one point it was Cody and Friends, then it was KO and Sami and Friends, and then went back to Cody and Friends, then it was Seth and Friends. Now
it's a Legacy 3.0.
It is.
Yeah. So. Yeah, so that's. I mean,
Brian, you're going Cody. You're going Cody.
Yeah,
I'm going to call that Cody's Heroes. There we go.
My only thing is like I could see my thought process initially before you guys went was like, you have Randy Orton coming back, you can't have him lose, but Randy being Randy could easily betray them, but I feel like he'd want to win the match and then kind of pull a Shinsuke and like go after Seth or something. I feel like, you got the story of Randy being out, big injury, coming back. He's been hungry, wants to assert his dominance. Why not go after Seth and the world title? Especially a new world title. But I feel like he'd win the match and then pull that move and kind of pull like a Shinsuke thing, like, hey, look, we're a group, we won together, I'm gonna give you RKO out of nowhere, and then just walk on out of there.
I don't think so, because it's just like, I think Randy Orton's coming back right now just to help the team, but in my head I'm just like, I really think just long term booking and stuff like that, after Cody wins the title, that he go challenges Cody or some variation of that, because I feel like Randy Orton
after who?
I think he's going to go after Cody or somebody. I don't know.
But I feel like we're going to get I'm calling now that Randy Orton is back, and we hope that Cody wins the title at WrestleMania. I'm already calling the SummerSlam right now. It's going to be Cody and Orton for the title because that story, because there's so much story there that they can tap into, and that feud is good enough where it can last like maybe 3 or 4 p at least.
My thing about that is that he'll have to be on SmackDown if he wins, right?
Exactly. That's on
or something. So that's where I can kind of fall flat on that. But
yeah,
I feel like Jey Uso in the Bloodline, that because we saw his face when Cody announced that it was Randy Orton.
Yeah, exactly. That's another important thing to realize. They don't do these things on accident. Like they actually zoomed in on Jey Uso's face, knowing so they don't do.
There's gonna be beef.
Yeah. So even though I think that obviously the dissension in the Judgment Day is going to happen at some point, I just feel like that's a bigger story because Jey has kind of just been floundering behind Cody and tagging with those guys being the good guys. Randy Orton has had beef. I think Randy Orton has had beef with everybody in this match to some degree. Cody Rhodes, of course, with Legacy and all that back in the day. Seth Rollins, of course, the Authority. We go back to those days.
The RKO out of nowhere.
Has he crossed paths with Sami Zayn?
I believe so. Maybe not like title wise,
not in the feud. They've had a couple of matches.
Yeah. But and then obviously the beef with the Bloodline with Jey Uso. So I feel like there's enough there where Randy Orton could probably RKO everybody, and screw them. But I mean, he is coming back. I don't think they're going to do that just as yet. But I just feel like I don't feel like the Judgment Day can lose. I feel like Cody, Seth, and Jey, they're the babyface. They can fight an uphill battle. But then again, you think about, are they really going to have 2 heel teams win War Games on the same night?
Exactly.
It's definitely
what does that do to Randy's return? Him losing.
I mean, if he turns heel,
I I don't think it'll matter because people are just gonna be happy to see him because he's been gone for so long, and he's John Cena status, not the greatest of all time, but he's at that level where people just want to see him at this point. Yeah. And like I said, because of the whole CM Punk situation, and everyone expecting CM Punk. Now they'll just be glad that they're getting something special.
Will they?
No, they're not. They're not. There's a reason why they announced Randy Orton on Raw instead of saving it for the pay-per-view.
Yeah, true.
It's because they're trying to sell those tickets that they just opened up for Survivor Series. But I know Michael Cole was doing like an advertisement for it, saying that like limited tickets have now opened up for Survivor Series. That they opened up more space, so we need to buy these tickets. So
I'm just talking about the fan reaction. At some point, we're going to get a CM Punk chant. At some point, they're going to boo everything.
Of course, you're always gonna have those idiots in Chicago that think that CM Punk is the god of wrestling, and that if you're in Chicago, you need CM Punk. I mean, you're gonna have those couple, but by announcing Randy Orton, I like to think common sense would tell you that like you're not getting Punk, you're getting Randy. Like
I would hope so.
Like you're not getting Punk, you're getting Randy. So here.
But who are you going with, Lewis?
I'm gonna go with Cody. Seth, Sami, superheroes. The Revengers.
Yeah. Cody and friends, yeah.
Cody and friends. Cody and friends. So I'm the only one going Judgment Day. Okay.
Damn.
I'm fine with that. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna be fine with that. But the picks so far, we got Santos Escobar over Carlito. Me and Brian are picking Gunther. Lewis is picking The Miz in the Intercontinental title match. We're all going Rhea Ripley.
Never thought I'd pick The Miz.
Never thought that either. We got Rhea Ripley over Zoey Stark in the Women's Championship. We're all going Damage Control in the Women's War Games match. And in the Men's War Game match, you guys are going Cody's Heroes or Cody and Friends, and I'm going to Judgment Day. The Lone Ranger picking the Judgment Day because I still believe there's more story to tell there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens there. We recap Full Gear. We recapped.
Dan, don't you remember your pick for Drew winning the title?
He should have won.
I learned after I picked Shinsuke.
Guys, I actually just remembered something. And going back to AEW, there is one thing that we forgot to mention. They announced the new superstar who's now signed with AEW is now going to be Will Ospreay. Which I'm not gonna lie, I was very underwhelmed when I heard that announcement that it was going to be him because it's one of those things where it's like he's already had a couple of matches with AEW.
It was expected more than anything else.
So it's like he's kind of already been working for the company with the relationship that AEW and New Japan have, and then for him to say that he has to finish out his New Japan deal, which ends I think in like February before he's able to come over. It's kind of a little bit of a letdown, but as a talent, Will Ospreay is top 5 in the world. Any company would love to have a Will Ospreay. So the fact that we're actually going to see him on American television on a weekly basis or for whatever it is with AEW is interesting. But at the same time, when you hear like surprise signing, you're kind of hoping for somebody who hasn't worked for the company, for someone who has buzz. But so from that standpoint, I thought it was underwhelming that ended up being Ospreay. But as a talent, Will Ospreay is Will Ospreay.
Yeah, and I think that's what probably a lot of people were like, "Who's this person? This blockbuster?" Like it wasn't needed. You honestly could have waited till he finished out and then be like, "Boom, this is our new signee." But it could also be a thing where like it was probably going to get revealed either way. So I don't know. They probably wanted to get ahead of it, maybe.
I honestly think that they did it just to stick it up to WWE because there were reports that WWE had interest in them too. I really
everybody had interest in.
I think they really because they really wanted. Apparently, the report said that like WWE was really like trying, like to get Ospreay.
They didn't pitch WrestleMania. They didn't listen to me.
They didn't.
And I think Tony Khan
bring it to
wanted to say like, I got him. I'm not gonna have him until after February, but I have him. I have him. You don't. I have a relationship with the company with the company that he's currently signed with, so I'm going to be able to use him as much as I can until I have him full time. And I really think he just did that just to stick it to WWE.
Could be.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they all were in cahoots, and I'm pretty sure Tony Khan offered him a crazy deal with less dates. And sealed it easily. I mean, they have a working relationship anyway. And especially with a void with CM Punk, Daniel Bryan, those guys being out. I can see Will Ospreay saying, hey, I'm going to be featured more. I want to be in a prominent role. Pretty much writes itself. Not surprising at all. But good for AEW, especially with the all the stars that have been hurt. Apparently, a couple stars that are going to be taking a break and stuff like that. So definitely a void filled for them. So we'll see how Will Ospreay comes out. Is he going to be intermediate, helping out in December, January, February, working back and forth between New Japan and AEW? Possibly. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. But that will do it for this episode 42. We have Survivor Series coming up on Saturday. War Games. I don't care. Whatever the opening promo for War Games is, William Regal has to be in it. We have to get his War Games.
Instead, we got Adam Pearce. God damn
it. Hopefully, William Regal can make an appearance there. That would be dope.
Please.
And as always, thank you guys for joining me. Signing off.
1, 2, 3.